Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video thumbs up. General Hospital, GH, spoilers for Tuesday, April 28th, suggests that Willow Kane, Caitlin McMullen, will request a favor and hope for it to be granted. Michael Corinthos, Rory Gibson, will also learn some information on a suspect, while Jordan Ashford, Tanisha Harper, is concerned about losing her job. For starts, Curtis Ashford, Donnell Turner, will speak with Michael about the fence paint hint and his concerns that Isaiah Gannon, was the motorist who fled the scene that night. Michael may have concerns, but Curtis will stress that this is the only lead he has and that it is worth following. Curtis would eventually speak with ADA Justine Turner, Nazanin contractor, and encourage her to dig into Isaiah. However, Justine will speak with Jordan and hear that she is concerned about being fired. Jordan may believe that her looks is an important aspect of her career and the confidence she brings to the table. It may lead Jordan to believe that Jen Sidwell, Carlo Rhoda, will not want her to attend meetings because of her scars, especially if she lacks the swagger she once possessed. Tracy Quartermaine, Jane Elliott, will persuade Brooklyn Quartermaine, Amanda Sutton, to suppress whatever remorse she feels. Brooklyn feels she is the other driver from the night of the incident, but Tracy insists on sticking to their cover-up. Tracy will believe that if Brooklyn can keep everyone else in the dark and go on with her life, she will save herself a great deal of misery. Meanwhile, Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Monsey, will pay Lucas Jones, Van Hansis, a visit at GH and make a suggestion, but Lucas will think it's okay for him to sit this one out. Christina may believe that Ethan Lovett, Nathan Dean, can assist Lucas in seeking justice for Marco Rios, Adrian Anchondo, but Lucas has his own plan in the works. Back with Michael, he'll meet with Willow and hope to keep things pleasant this time. Willow has had time to calm off since their last encounter at Crimson, and she may take a softer approach with Michael. Willow will ask for a favor, so what will it be? If it involves alienating Jacinda, Paige Bracken, Michael may still be against it, no matter how gently Willow pleads. According to General Hospital spoilers, Michael will soon carry out a covert scheme against Willow, so don't miss it. The tension in Port Charles had been building for weeks, like a slow-burning fuse that threatened to detonate the precious serenity that so many inhabitants cherished. On this particular Tuesday, the air was heavier than normal, rife with unsaid accusations and desperate moves. Willow Tate Corinthos sat behind the desk in her congressional office, her fingertips lightly tapping on the polished wood as she went over the papers she had written. Her life had changed significantly in recent months, from dedicated nurse to political figure, from loyal wife to a woman caught in secrets that, if revealed, could unravel everything. But now, she had a unique request to make, one that necessitated careful wording and an appeal to the man who had loved her unreservedly. Michael Corinthos came on schedule, his jaw set in that familiar stubborn expression Willow recognized all too well. He had received her message earlier that morning, which was courteous, but had an air of urgency. Their co-parenting relationship has become increasingly strained since Drew Kane's shooting and the resulting consequences. Michael still felt the weight of suspicion from that night, even as he worked quietly behind the scenes to defend his name and protect his children. Seeing Willow now, confident and professional in her fitted jacket, triggered a mix of old feelings and new resentments. "Michael, thank you for coming," Willow replied, rising from her chair with a controlled grin. She motioned to the seat across from her desk. "I know things have been difficult between us lately." Michael did not return the smile. He eased himself into the chair, scrutinizing her face for signs of duplicity. "Difficult is an understatement, Willow. After the way you spoke to Jacinda the other day, I'm surprised you wanted to meet at all. What's this about?" Willow took a long breath and folded her hands neatly in front of her. She'd practiced this moment, knowing that any indication of weakness would cost her advantage. "It's about the children. Wiley and Amelia deserve stability, especially now with everything happening in our lives. My schedule with Congress is demanding, and I worry that the back and forth is affecting them. I have a special request. I'd like for us to consider a more structured custody schedule, perhaps with me having primary physical custody during the week while you take weekends and holidays. It would give them routine, a sense of home." Michael raised his eyebrows. He leaned forward slightly, his voice soft and controlled. Primary custody? After everything? You lied under oath, Willow. You made the whole town believe I shot Drew. And now you want me to hand over more time with our kids like it's some casual favor? She didn't hesitate. That was a misunderstanding, Michael. The pressure from the campaign, the stress. I said things I shouldn't have. But this isn't about the past. It's about what's best for Wiley and Amelia. They're young, and they need consistency. You have your business, your new relationship with Jacinda. I thought you might understand. Michael's blood pressure rose. His girlfriend had become an unexpected ally in his search for the truth, and Willow's recent outburst toward her had only strengthened his resolve to find out what really happened the night Drew was shot. He felt Willow knew more than she let on, and that she might even be directly responsible. However, he couldn't betray his hand too soon. Just hours ago, he received information about a probable suspect from a discreet source, pointing him away from Willow and towards someone closer to her circle. He required time to verify it. I don't think you understand how this sounds, Michael explained carefully. You've been fighting me every step of the way, threatening me indirectly, and now you're asking for this special request, as if we're still partners in this. What makes you think I'd agree? Willow's gaze softened, but Michael wondered if it was sincere or intentional. She up and moved around the desk, settling on the edge closer to him. Because deep down, you still care about doing the right thing for our family. I know we've hurt each other, but the kids shouldn't pay for that. If you need time to think about it, fine. But please, Michael, consider it seriously. I can make concessions on visitation. We could even involve a mediator if that helps. As they spoke, the conversation danced around the real issues simmering beneath the surface. Michael gently inquired about her employment in Congress and any recent stressors that could explain her conduct. Willow evaded effectively, portraying herself as an exhausted mother attempting to juggle ambition and motherhood. She described how her mother, Nina, had been sympathetic but distant lately, preoccupied with her own issues at Crimson. Michael listened intently, filing away every word. His personal information about the suspect burned in his mind, a name that could sway the entire inquiry and ultimately expose the lies that had torn apart their once happy marriage. Meanwhile, at the Port Charles Police Department, Jordan Ashford paces her office, her mind racing with concern. As interim commissioner, she had to navigate a labyrinth of departmental politics and personal allegiances. The recent investigations into high-profile cases, like the Drew Kane shooting, have put tremendous strain on her team. Jordan believed she was about to lose her position, especially with whispers of internal evaluations and external influences from people such as Mayor Laura Collins, as well as federal supervision due to Willow's congressional involvement. Curtis Ashford, her ex-husband and someone she still cared passionately about despite their convoluted history, had been investigating the case on his own. He had initially suspected Isaiah, but new information had him looking into another possible offender. Curtis discussed his concerns with Jordan in hushed tones earlier that day, implying that the evidence could point to someone with a purpose motivated by political rivalries or personal vendettas in Port Charles's elite circles. Jordan listened closely as her protective instincts kicked in. She couldn't afford another controversy on her watch, especially when her position seemed fragile. Jordan, you can't keep carrying this alone, Curtis replied, briefly patting her arm in a show of solidarity. If there's a new suspect, we need to follow it closely, but protecting the department also means protecting yourself. Jordan nodded, but fear gnawed inside her. She later told her friend Justine about her growing concerns, the late nights examining case files, the calls from superiors questioning her decisions, and the constant balancing act between justice and politics. I worry I'm one misstep away from it all crumbling, she admitted. This job isn't just a title, it's who I am now, and losing it would be like losing everything I've built. Justine gave gentle encouragement, reminding Jordan of her strength and the respect she earned in the community. Jordan couldn't shake the feeling that larger forces were at work, possibly crossing with the Corinthos family tragedies taking place at the same time. Tracy Quartermain delivered one of her classic warnings during a heated discussion at the Quartermain estate. Her sharp tongue and unwavering standards had earned her a reputation as the family's intimidating matriarch. Whoever had crossed her that day, most likely due to business transactions or family loyalty, was given a strong lecture about repercussions and the significance of keeping the Quartermain brand. Tracy's interventions frequently reverberated throughout the town, influencing everything from YLQ corporate strategy to personal relationships. Meanwhile, Lucas Jones found solace amidst the chaos when he got a heartfelt offer from an unexpected source. Perhaps it was tied to his medical profession at General Hospital or a personal connection that rekindled hope after previous heartbreaks. The act reminded him of the kindness that remained in Port Charles, even while suspicions and secrets dominated the day. Back in Willow's office, the discussion with Michael continued, the atmosphere thickening with each exchanged word. Willow pressed her specific request, emphasizing how a consistent pattern would assist the children's emotional health. She even mentioned financial flexibility and shared educational options. Michael remained guarded, his thoughts reverting to the suspicious news he had heard. The information offered a link that may implicate someone Willow knew well, potentially shifting blame and defending him in front of the court and their community. You know, Willow, Michael said slowly, choosing his words with precision, I've been doing some thinking myself about the night Drew was shot. There are new leads circulating, information about a potential suspect that doesn't line up with the story everyone's been told. If that turns out to be true, it could change a lot of things, custody included. Willow's expression tightened almost imperceptibly, a flash of concern crossing her eyes before she masked it. New information? Michael, if there's something that clears your name, that's wonderful. But we shouldn't let old suspicions poison our decisions about the kids. This request is about moving forward, not dredging up the past. Their conversation continued like a carefully choreographed dance, each testing the other's resolve. Michael reflected on the early days of their relationship, the true love that had bloomed amid the turbulence of his Corinthian heritage and her convoluted familial relationships. Willow had previously served as his anchor, illuminating the darkness of mob entanglements and family feuds. That brilliance felt tarnished by betrayal and ambition. He wondered if the lady before him was truly the same person he had married, or if power had corrupted her in ways he had not expected. Willow, on her part, considered the sacrifices she had made. Becoming a mother had altered her, as had the betrayals she saw in Michael's world. The shooting had been a tipping point, driving her into a protective attitude that occasionally veered into anger. Her particular request was about more than just custody. It was about maintaining control and protecting her children from the risks she connected with Michael's family lineage. But she couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness as she looked at him, remembering those fleeting moments of happiness before everything fell apart. As the conversation progressed, they talked of shared memories, family dinners at the Quartermain estate, holidays when Wiley's delight lit up the room, and silent evenings when Amelia's screams pulled them together in exhausted solidarity. Those memories eased the edges of their disagreement for a minute, reminding both that underlying the fury lurked a deep bond formed through parenthood. But reality intervened quickly. Michael's phone vibrated with a quiet update on the suspect lead, underscoring his concern. He wouldn't accede to Willow's request without absolute assurances, and even then, only if it helped him achieve his larger goal of discovering the truth. Willow detected his hesitancy and doubled on, appealing to his sense of fairness and concern for the children. Think about it, Michael, she said as the meeting came to an end. This could be beneficial to all of us, a fresh start in how we approach co-parenting. Michael stood, buttoning his jacket. I'll think about it. But Willow, if this suspect news pans out and points where I think it might, things are going to get a lot more complicated. For everyone. He left the office with more questions than answers, the weight of prospective revelations pushing on him. Willow watched him leave, her particular request hanging in the air. She sat back in her chair and exhaled slowly. The game they were playing had tremendous stakes: custody, reputation, and freedom itself. One single action might tip the delicate equilibrium. Throughout the rest of the day in Port Charles, interconnected stories created a tapestry of drama. Jordan continued her silent effort to protect her career, confiding in trusted associates and analyzing every detail of pending investigations. Curtis' shift in suspect focus adds another element of intrigue, possibly leading back to the same web of duplicity that surrounded Drew's shooting. Tracy's warning rang in the ears of those who heard it, a reminder that the Quartermaines were fiercely protective of their own. Lucas's heartfelt offer brought a rare smile to his face, possibly from a colleague proposing collaboration on a medical effort or a friend offering support during personal struggle. In the crowded corridors of General Hospital, nurses and doctors exchanged knowing glances about the newest stories, with the Corinthos Quartermaine orbit offering endless meat for speculation. As evening neared, Michael met briefly with Jacinda to discuss the highlights of his experience with Willow. Jacinda listened sympathetically, her own observations about Willow's conduct driving their shared determination. "She's playing a long game," Jacinda noted. "But so are you. That suspect news could be the key." Michael nodded, his determination stiffening. He loved his children more than anything else and would battle to guarantee that they grew up in a world devoid of the machinations that had ruined his own childhood. Willow's unique request may appear acceptable on the surface, but he recognized the premeditated maneuver underlying it. Willow returned home and examined the meeting notes while conversing with Nina on the phone. Her mother gave careful guidance, knowing of the widening schism, but unwilling to press too hard. "Be careful, sweetheart. Michael isn't one to back down easily." "I know," Willow said. "But the kids come first. Always." As the day progressed, these threads tightened. Requests were made, news was received, suspicions shifted, and warnings were sent. Port Charles never slept well, with its citizens enmeshed in love, treachery, ambition, and justice. Willow's unique request signified an effort for stability in the midst of turbulence, but Michael's suspect news hinted at possible upheaval that may reshape alliances and reveal hidden facts. In the peaceful hours that followed, there were numerous opportunities for reflection. Michael sat with his children for a bedtime story, their innocent expressions reminding him why he tried so hard. Willow was reviewing congressional papers when her thoughts turned to the family photos on her desk. Jordan peered at case files late into the night, determined not to let fear control her destiny. Curtis considered his future moves, combining personal history with the pursuit of truth. The extraordinary request remained unaddressed, marking a turning point in the Corinthos family's long drama. Michael had not responded yes or no, giving him time to confirm the suspect information, which may exonerate him or accuse others. Willow hoped her plea for shared motherhood would persuade him, ignorant of how close he was to piecing together a different story. The town's larger dynamics exacerbated the situation. Sunny Corinthos' influence, albeit typically in the background, casts long shadows on Michael's decisions. Carly's protective instincts for her kid brought another voice into his ear. The Quartermaines, with their history of power conflicts, offered both support and complications. As Tuesday came to a close, the characters of General Hospital found themselves at numerous crossroads. Willow's request had sown the seeds of compromise, but Michael's suspicious news threatened to upend the garden completely. Jordan's job security was in jeopardy due to the investigations relating to these personal tragedies. Tracy's warnings were cautionary tales, yet touching gestures like Lucas's provided glimpses of compassion. The story of Port Charles was one of countless layers, with each revelation building on the previous one, and each connection tested by secrets and passion. Willow saw her unusual request as a realistic step forward, a chance to maintain her role as mother while furthering her career. Michael regarded it as a potential new layer of control, one he would only consider if it did not jeopardize his pursuit for truth. In the end, the day captured the heart of life in this dynamic, turbulent town. People fighting for what they thought was right, whether it was custody, justice, a profession, or family peace. Suspicions moved like tides, requests revealed hidden agendas, and information about suspects promised both danger and salvation. Tomorrow would bring new discoveries, but for the time being, the events of Tuesday had everyone wondering their next moves in a high-stakes game where emotion and truth frequently conflicted. Later that evening, Michael wandered the streets of Port Charles, recalling the suspect details. Who stood to benefit by framing him? How extensively was Willow involved, if at all? He recalled their chat, her calm attitude concealing whatever anxieties or calculations lay beneath. Their history was filled with both joy and pain. The wedding, the births of their children, and the betrayals that ensued. Could they ever find common ground again? Or was the separation too great? Willow got ready for bed, her particular request now in Michael's hands. She stroked the photo of Wiley and Amelia, whispering a pledge to fight for them in any way required. Politics had taught her resilience, but parenthood demanded something deeper, unwavering protection. Jordan, finally home, pondered on her conversation with Justine. Opening up had relieved the pressure significantly, but her job-related concerns continued. She had to remain cautious in a community where power was regularly transferred. Curtis studied his notes on the new suspect, his instincts warning him that the investigation was far from finished. The linkages in Port Charles were deep, frequently linking the hospital, the police department, the corporate sector, and the political arena in unexpected ways. Lucas treasured the heartfelt offer he received, a reminder that not every interaction had hidden purposes. Small acts of compassion, both in medicine and in life, can heal more than physical wounds. Tracy's warning was delivered with her customary flair, ensuring the receiver knew the seriousness of crossing a quartermain. Her position as family enforcer was both a burden and a badge of honor. These distinct threads were woven into the rich tapestry of General Hospital's storyline. Willow's unusual request and Michael's suspect news stood out on April 28, indicating big shifts in the coming weeks. The citizens went on with their lives, loving, scheming, investigating, and hoping, all while being watched over by a town that thrived on its own kind of controlled chaos. The custody debate between Michael and Willow went beyond simple logistics. It dealt with trust, betrayal, and the legacy they would leave for their children. Michael considered the practical aspects, school schedules, extracurricular activities, and emotional stability. Overriding it all was his developing conviction that truth had to prevail before any arrangement could be considered fair. The suspect news provided a lifeline, an opportunity to alter the narrative that had branded him as guilty. Willow, motivated by her own goals and maternal impulses, saw the request as critical to keeping influence in her children's lives. Her legislative obligations required time and effort, but she refused to surrender her job as primary caretaker. Although the discussion appeared to be amicable, both parties left with a better understanding of the battle lines drawn. As night settled over Port Charles, lights flickered in homes and offices, each telling a story of human complexity. The unique request might result in mediation meetings, legal consultations, or even temporary truces. The questionable news could result in arrests, confessions, or additional cover-ups. Jordan's issues might be resolved by dedicated work or escalated into resignation threats. Whatever happened, the intertwined lives meant that one person's request or revelation had a far-reaching impact. In the world of soap opera drama, resolutions were rarely easy or quick. Emotions ran high, secrets simmered, and optimism remained alongside skepticism. Willow and Michael, once together, were now navigating a minefield of past mistakes and future uncertainty. Their children remained the innocent anchors, deserving more than the shadows of adult strife. The day had been one of quiet tension rather than explosive clashes, laying the groundwork for more admissions. Michael's suspect information required verification, which included phone calls to sources, discrete encounters, and chronology analyses. Willow is expected to follow up on her request, possibly through attorneys or another direct appeal. Jordan would continue to advocate for her position, supported by friends such as Justine. Curtis' new suspect angle may collide with Michael's leads, resulting in unforeseen friendships or rivalries. Port Charles had witnessed numerous Tuesdays replete with love triangles, corporate betrayals, medical miracles, and criminal intrigue. This one was no exception in terms of emotional depth, but it was distinguished by a unique blend of custody disputes, professional pressures, and investigative twists. Willow's need for order in the midst of chaos was embodied by her specific request. The suspect news reflected Michael's search of justice in a place where it was frequently elusive. Ultimately, the protagonists pushed forth with determination balanced with sensitivity. They chuckled at old jokes recalled in passing, cried private tears over lost trust, and braced themselves for future confrontations. The fabric of their community, resilient, dramatic, and endlessly fascinating, continued to unravel, thread by thread, revelation by revelation.